Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we'll be making this lovely gown for our princesses today. And if this is your first time of stopping by, hi, nice meeting you for the first time. Please consider subscribing to my channel, and to my old subscribers I say thank you very much for all your support so far. I really appreciate it and I love you guys. So without wasting so much time, let's get into the video. So we'll be using our pattern paper to mark out our bodies or the style. So the first thing we are doing is to mark a straight line, which is going to serve as our shoulder line or our starting point. And then placing my tape at that starting point, I'm going to go down by 7 inches for my bust point, and then I'm going down by 13 inches for my half length. Then I'm going to mark 19 inches for my hip line, and then I'm going to mark the length of the where I want the design to be at, that's at 23 inches. I hope what I said made sense. So I marked my bust, my half length, my waistline, and then the length of where our Ankara is going to stop, or our African print is going to stop. That design, that was curved there. I hope you get it now. So once I am done with that, we are going to go ahead and work on our neckline. And for the width of my neckline, I am going out by 3 inches, and then for the depth I'm going down by 3 inches. So this is for our front bodies, and we are going to use this front to cut the back. So we are not cutting two different patterns, we are using just this one to cut the front and the back. So I will connect it for a round neck, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I have 6 inches here, and I'm not adding any allowance because it's not going to have a sleeve. And I connected it to our bust point. Then the next thing I'm marking is 1 inch for my shoulder slope. In fact, I marked 0.75 for my shoulder slope for this. It's not up to 1 inch. Then I'll go ahead and insert my bust measurement divided by 4. That's what I have there. I made a point. Don't look at the 2 points I just marked. I just noticed that the first one, the measurement was wrong, so that's why I remarked it. I have 2 measurements there, so it's just my bust measurement divided by 4. And I will do the same thing for my waistline, which is my waist point, which is my waist divided by 4. And then for the next line, which is our hip, I'm going to be marking my hip divided by 4, and then I added ½ inch to that hip area, just ½ inch. That's what I added to the hip area. So I'll go ahead and connect these points. Once I am done with that, at that area that I want this to stop, so instead of marking the exact measurement I have at my hip area, I'm going to be adding another ½ inch to this measurement. Remember, we added ½ inch to the hip, so I will add another ½ inch to this one. So that means I added 1 inch to my hip allowance to mark at the hem area. Just let's call this the hem. So I separated my half length from the lower part, so this is more like our skirt part. So from the center front, I'm going in by 1 inch, and I'll make a point there. And then from that center point, I'm going out from that 1 inch, I will go in by 4 inches. So that 4 inches, I will divide it into 2 and make a point at that middle. So this measurement depends on how big your child is. So that point I made at the middle, I'll extend it up to our hip line. And then for that hip line, from that hip line, I am going down by 1 inch. And then I'll go ahead and connect that 1 inch to the 1 inch we went in from the center front. I'm using my free hand to do this. You can use your curve, but I'm using my free hand, and I will keep connecting it until I am satisfied with what I have. And then from the other side is, remember the 4 inches that we marked and we made a point. That's what I marked there. So from that 4 inches, I'll go out by 1 inch again. And then from that hip line, I'll come down by 1 inch again, and then I'll connect these 2 points with a curve as well. It's not going to be a straight line. So you can, just like I said, you can use your cuff to do this, but for me, I am using my free hand, and I'll keep doing it until I am okay with what I have, and I'll go ahead and cut this out just like you see me do. Please go ahead and do the same. So we are going to transfer this to our paper, to our fabric, and my fabric is folded into two. And the first thing I am doing is to mark 1.5 inches for my zipper, and I'll draw a straight line at that place. Once I am done with that, I'll go ahead and bring my pattern, my front bodice, and place it at that line we marked. What we are trying to do is to cut out our back bodice. Then I'll go ahead and pin this all around. And then for my back neckline, I went down by 1.5 inches, and then at my seam side I added 1.5 inches as well, and every other side is just half. And then at my own armhole, I didn't add any allowance there. Remember, it's not going to have a zipper. And then for the lower side of the skirt, you can see this is for the back. I added my zipper allowance, and then my seam side I added 1.5 inches, and then every other side I am adding ½ inch, including that circle-like thing, or let's say half oval shape. So this is what it looks like after we are done cutting it out. And this is our bodice as well. I've gone ahead to cut out all my lining pieces for this, and as you know, if you have been following me on this channel, I am using the same fabric for my lining. So I'll just take out all the pins on it, and then I'll go ahead and do front facing front for my front bodice, and I'll start pinning on the neckline. Once I am done, I'll stitch on my neckline. I'll do the same thing for the back bodice as well. So this is it after I was done. I'm just notching the neckline, and I'll turn it to the right side. So once I am done turning this to the right side, we are going to go ahead and do front facing front. Remember, because I am using the same fabric, you might not really know what I am doing, but what I did is the front of my body is facing the front of my front bodice facing the front of my neck of my back bodice. So I opened up my shoulder line, and then I first of all matched the two shoulder points, or to the shoe stitching point together, and then I went ahead to stitch all the way the neckline, just like you see me. So for the armhole, this is the way I do my armhole for a very neat finishing, or let's say professional finishing. So once I roll it, I'm going to first of all match my two shoulder lines together. I'll pin it down, and then I'll start pinning every other side till I get to the end of the neck of the armhole, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. Once I am done with that, I'll go to my sewing machine and then stitch it from one end to the other. So once I am done stitching it down, I'll go ahead and make notches around the armhole, and then I'll pull it out from the one side. And once I am done pulling it out, I'll repeat the same process for the other armhole, and you can see how neat it came out. Every rough edges are all inside. So for the skirt part, or let's call it skirt part, I'll go ahead and bring in my front bodice, and then we are going to go ahead and do front facing front for this piece. And then I'll go ahead and stitch where you see me showing you guys. Everywhere you see me pointing at, that's where we're going to be stitching by the ½ inch allowance that we added. And I'll do the same thing for my back. I just noticed that I was doing it wasn't at the right side, so I just flipped it. So once I am done, I'll go ahead and make notches, and then cut out all the excesses at that point, so that by the time you turn it to the right side, it's not so bulky. So we are going to turn it to the right side, and I'll do the same thing for my back bodice as well. So this is it after we are done. While pushing it out with your scissors, please be careful so that you don't rip it open. So this is for the back bodice, and then this is our front bodice. You can see we are done cutting it, turning it. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my skirt and bring in my bodice. So we are also going to go ahead and do front facing front, and I'll make sure I arrange all the pieces well, and then I'll go ahead and start pinning this down. If you're making for an adult, it's the same thing. The only difference is that you're going to be adding your dart to whatever you're going to be doing and then stitch down on your dart. But aside that, every other thing is the same. Just insert your measurement where necessary. So I'll go ahead and pin this down. Once I am done, I'll repeat the same process for the back. Remember, front facing front, and also pin it down. And then before pinning the back bodies down, I'm going to go ahead and fold the two back bodies together, and then I'll be cutting out 1/2 inch from the zipper allowance. I'll slant it towards the seam side, just like you see me do. Then once I am done with that, I'll open it up, and then I'll bring in the back skirt, and then I'll do front facing front, just like I did for the front one, and then I'll pin it down before going to my sewing machine to stitch the two. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. You can see that this style is coming together. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to arrange this and then stitch on my seam side. I added 1.5 inches, so I'm going to be stitching by 1.5 inches. So this is it after I was done. The next thing I'll do is to close up the zipper allowance and then attach our zipper. And then for our net, before we attach the zipper, let's measure what we are going to be using or what we are going to cutting out for the net. So for the net, I'm going to go ahead and arrange my fabric, my pieces well, and then I'll place my tape at my shoulder line from my shoulder, and then I'll measure down where my gown stops. Remember to take out 1/2 inch you are going to be using to stitch the net, and then I'll measure the length of my net. For me, it's going to be a 3/4. It's not going to be a full length. So once I measure that, I'll add extra 5 inches because of the that space that we have, so that by the time we are done, we are going to trim it off. We don't want to have shortage of fabric. So this is the net I'll be using, and what I have here is 2 yards. If you want yours to be fuller than mine, please go ahead and increase your net. So I went ahead to cut it out, and I was able to cut out just 3 pieces. My length of my net is 20 inches. So I'll go ahead and join all the 3 pieces to have a long net. So I'll bring in my bodies so that we can attach our net, and I'll be starting from the back bodies, and as you can see, I've gone ahead to attach my zipper at this point. So I'll turn the net to the right side. I'll turn the gown to the right side, and then I'm going to be starting from the zipper area to attach this net. So before attaching this net, I'll take out about 5 inches from that net. So after the 5 inches, that's where my stitching is going to be starting. So I'll place it down, and then I'll start making pleats. So I'll start making pleats on this, and I will be plating it just like you see me show you guys all around. And this plating depends on how much fabric you have. So I'll plait it all around till I get to the end. This at this point is kind of a lot of work, but you have to be patient, and before you know it, you are done. So this is it after I was done. If you can look at the net properly, you will see that some area is longer than some, which I'm going to be trimming off afterwards. So we are going to be attaching our net lining, because without lining you won't be able to wear it. But before that, let's go over to that zipper area and then close up that net, which I'm going to be doing by 1/2 inch, so that by the time where someone looks at it, they will know the beginning from where the net started. So to attach our lining, you can do this in 2 different ways. Is either is either you attach it from the waistline, that depends on how long your your lining is, or you can just top stitch it from immediately after that upper curve. And for me, I'm going to be top stitching it because my lining is quite short. It wasn't enough. So this is it after I was done top stitching it, and you're going to be top stitching it to cover up. I hope you understand this. So this is it after I am done. At this point, I haven't trimmed out the excess that I don't need. Even when my daughter tried it on, I haven't trimmed it off as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you find value in it. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do where to hit on the subscribe button, join the family, and share my videos to family and friends. And I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.